Today I'd like to talk about endings and why endings are fucking awesome.
So I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I...
First of all, let's get this out of the way. I don't mean all endings. Some endings are terrible. Endings can make or break a movie or a TV show or, a song. Endings are so important to how something is told, because if you don't have an ending for your story or your melody, it just doesn't work. It feels unfinished, it feels cut off, it trails on, it doesn't look right, doesn't feel right. So you need to have a good, well-written, comprehensive ending to make it all work. And if you don't have that, you're essentially fucked. Which is why I think certain things have become a problem. And I'm talking in particular about movies and TV series here. So because of things like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is amazing and I do love it, even movies now don't have endings the way they used to. Like almost all movies that have been huge box office successes in the last 15 years have been a first movie that's a setup for a second, or they've been a sequel or a remake or, you know, something along those lines. None of them are like standalone movies. And I'm sure I could find a list of the standalone movies that have come out and been huge box office successes in the last 10 years. Here they are. I liked that one. It's not a long list. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I just spent the last 2.5 hours, because that's how long it is, watching the finale for the Netflix show Sense8.
We have 7 other selves now, accessing each other's knowledge, language, skills. You are no longer just you.
Someone tell me just what in the hell is going on here?
Everyone should watch. It's one of the most inclusive, well-rounded, beautiful shows about life and connection and love I've ever seen. And also it has fucking kick-ass fight scenes in it. I spent most of the time watching this morning just going, woo! Yes! Get it! And then every now and then be like, lick his face! And then realize my window is open and the whole street could probably hear me, which isn't embarrassing at all. It was a good ending to a great show. And that is unbelievably fucking rare right now. I can't even express when the last time I saw one and went, oh my god, oh shit, did that end fucking well? I mean, I guess the colloquial one would be Breaking Bad, and when did that come out? A few years ago now, and I didn't even really enjoy Breaking Bad as a show. It had a few flaws, and it wasn't my favourite. But that's a personal preference. I think the ending did round out the show quite well. The problem with the way shows and movies are running at the moment is they're running for money. They're aiming all the time to just get the money and the viewers for the next season, and for the next season, the next season, so they can keep making more money. And that's great because it means we get a lot of seasons of good television, but it's also bad because it means we get a lot of seasons of mediocre television. I did what everyone else did when Brooklyn Nine-Nine got cancelled. Yelled at my phone, got really pissed off about it, because why would you ever cancel anything, especially something that good? But if this season had ended and then Fox announced that they thought that was a perfect conclusion to the TV series and that they're going to stop it now, I would have 100% agreed with that decision, because that finale of the season was really good and well-rounded, and it completed most of the story's main arcs. So I'm in like a conflicted place now with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where I'm like, oh, I do love it so much and I want it to go on forever, but I also don't ever want to get sick of it. I don't want to get to the point where someone's like, Brooklyn Nine-Nine's on, and I'm like, oh, that shit's still on? Like, I never want to get to that place with a show I love so much. On the opposite side of that scale, that's why a show like Firefly has so much love. It only got 1 season, it got canned, and that season now stands alone as like a perfect season of television. It's solid. And that's something that I think the BBC in particular used to do, and sometimes still does, really well. They think of a concept for a show, they run it for the appropriate amount of time, and then it ends. They don't drag it out, they don't try and squeeze every last drop of money out of it. They just write it, take it to its inevitable conclusion, and then end it. And the thing it hasn't done that with lately is Doctor Who. And I love Doctor Who. Growing up, it was my favourite show. That I can't even express in words how much Doctor Who meant to me as a kid and as a teenager, and even now. Like, it actually changed my life. But the last couple of seasons have been just woefully disappointing. Just to the point where I don't even watch it anymore because it's so disappointing. And then this morning, when I went to go watch Sense8, there was a show on there called Class, which I will probably watch the first episode of, which is basically a show that runs concurrent with Doctor Who, but not about the Doctor, and the Doctor's there sometimes. And that looks not great. So I'm just worried. And again, I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to pass judgment yet. I will watch it. It just seems like they don't get it anymore. The way Doctor Who is, the essence it had, the tone it set, the characters, everything came together. They just don't seem to get it anymore. And that's a huge bummer, and something that deeply upset me for a long time. Bad endings are almost as bad as never ending. Almost. Because you look at something like How I Met Your Mother. How I Met Your Mother ran on for far longer than they thought it was going to, which in some ways is a good thing, in some ways is not. Inevitably, they had to end it, and so they spent an entire season setting up this ending, and then just shit-canned it, and were like, well, we'll just use the ending that we used from the end of season 3, which I'm not sure if you're keeping count, but was like 6 years ago, because that makes logical sense with the progression of time. No, it doesn't. Your show has moved on from that point. Think of an ending. Just because you can't think of an ending doesn't mean that you should just tack on the one that you thought of when you didn't think your show was going to get past 3 seasons. Oh my god, this was years ago. I need to stop getting so wound up. I have like a real gripe about badly written anything. I hate it. Which brings me to my point. Sense8 was canned, which I was upset about because the story wasn't remotely finished. There was a huge cliffhanger. But then they were brought back for one special, which is kind of what happened to Firefly. It was given one movie. And the thing is, they fucking nailed it. They wrapped up the story arcs that needed to wrap up. They gave you some good fight scenes, some suitable cliffhangers, some drawing you back into happiness, because they knew before they started making it that it was going to be the last one of those that they ever did. They were planning in advance, this is how this is going to end. So that when it ended, the rug wasn't yanked out from underneath people telling us, oh no, we're never going to know the answers to all of these questions. They planned in advance and they wrote a finale that fucking works. Like, it works. And it's great. And, spoilers, it has a happy ending. Happy endings used to be like, and I know I've talked about this before, but happy endings used to be the cliche. It was a cliche thing to have a happy ending where everything was sunshine and rainbows and gay people kissing. But in the last 15 plus years, nothing has an ending anymore because everything's just setting up for the next thing. There's constantly cliffhangers and tie-ins and breadcrumbs to something else. It's never just an ending. So now the cliche isn't happy endings. The cliche is, oh, there's going to be an end credit scene that sets up the next movie. Or look at this setup for the next season at the end of this episode. Guess I better tune in 6 months when it starts all over again. And I don't hate that because I fucking love movies and TV shows, but it doesn't always work. And with something like How I Met Your Mother, it didn't. And with something like Supernatural, is that show ever gonna end? I don't think they can end it anymore, feasibly. I think they have to keep going now because no ending is gonna make sense. If they give it a happy ending, people will whinge because it doesn't suit the tone of the show. If they give it a depressing ending, people will whinge because like they've had 15 seasons of depression, so why would they end it depressed? Like, they're not gonna please anyone anymore. Like, that's what happens when you go on for that long. You have different fans and different groups of people that are gonna be totally opposite ends of the spectrum about how you should finish something, which is not something the writers should be paying attention to at all. The writers should be ignoring the fans, much as I hate to say this, because I am a fan of a lot of things. In most circumstances, writers should be totally ignoring the fans and just writing the ending that makes the most sense for the characters and storyline. Once more for the people in the back. And this is the same reason why I don't like when TV shows go downhill after they get the main sort of will they won't they couple together. There's this like myth, and that just isn't true. Like, it's not the couple getting together ruins the dynamic of the show. It's that the writers don't understand how to write the couple now that they're together. Oh my god, I have seen this over and over and over and over again. Bones, castle. There are so many, it's ridiculous. And it's bizarre to me that no one is looking at something like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, for example, in which their relationship doesn't change the show at all. The tone is still the same. The relationship makes sense. The progression moves forward. It's amazing. Same with Sense8. All the relationships that happen and build and keep going throughout the show just make it better. It doesn't devalue the story or the dynamics they already had, but just makes them better when it is written well. Which is why, so there's a show that I watch called 12 Monkeys, which is based off of the movie 12 Monkeys from 1996, which is in turn based off of a French short film anyway. Basically about time travel. It's great. I am obsessed with it slightly, just a little bit. It's going to be 4 seasons long. So 3 seasons have finished, and the 4th season is coming out on June 14th or 15th. And they knew going into writing it that it was going to be the final season of the show. So hopefully that means that when they wrote it, they had the ending in mind as an ending. And I can promise you that if it's not good, I will cry a lot and be very, very upset. But I'm hoping it won't, because there was a point when I was watching... Oh, this is so nerdy. Okay, I'm going to go through with it. There was a point in season 3 where I was sitting there watching it and I just started crying. Oh God. And I couldn't work out why, because it wasn't a particularly sad scene or anything. I'm not going to go into detail. It's a great show, just watch it. And I started crying, and I realised it's because I was watching the show and I was just going, oh my God, this is what good writing feels like. This is it. Like, this is the Ark of the Covenant. Holy shit. This is what good writing feels like. That's how I used to feel watching Doctor Who. That's how I felt watching the first 2 seasons of Sherlock. That's how I felt watching Firefly, or most of Joss Whedon's stuff, especially the earlier seasons of most of the things he's written. It's even almost how I felt watching the first couple of seasons of Supernatural. I loved that show when I was younger. I loved it. And there are so many shows that just deserve better endings than I know they're going to get. Better endings than they got. Cough, cough, How I Met Your Mother, cough. Endings are so important. And I think we've forgotten how important they are. I don't think Avengers Infinity War would have gotten anywhere near the buzz it's gotten without that fucking ending. Jesus Christ. I have read the comics. I knew how that was going to end. And I still left the cinema going, holy shit, what just happened? The fuck? Jesus Christ. Because that's what a good ending will do. It will shock you, amaze you, make you happy, make you sad, make you cross, change your life. There are genuine movies and TV series and books and songs that have changed my life, that wouldn't have done that if they hadn't ended well. And now I'm not just talking about shows, even particular episodes. There are episodes of Doctor Who that if they hadn't ended the way they did, I genuinely don't think I'd be sitting here. So it's important, and we keep ignoring it. What used to be about telling a good story well is now about telling a story that is going to make people watch it for years. I don't need a show I'm going to watch for years. I need a show that I want to rewatch over and over again for years. I want Spaced, the TV show that Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and Jessica Hines made. It's a perfect show. It's incredible. 2 seasons. I want Doctor Who up until the end of Matt Smith's season, halfway through Matt Smith's run. Every episode was so carefully taken care of and constructed and looked after, and there were things that happened in late episodes that call back to earlier episodes, and every episode makes a difference. And I just don't feel like it's like that anymore. Something like The Walking Dead. Everyone knows now. It's like a running joke that the first couple of episodes of the season of Walking Dead will be great. There'll be lots of filler episodes. And then the last 4-ish of the season will be great again. And that's it. And that's been the running joke now for a while. Shows shouldn't be like that. TV shows are there because you want to watch long-form versions of your favourite things. TV shows should not be filler. Every episode should matter, or the ending is bullshit. And I'm not going to call any shows out, Supernatural, but when so many of your episodes are just recycled crap from earlier seasons in different shiny packaging, how are you going to end it? this turned into something where I whinge a lot, which is what my whole channel is, but it was supposed to be about celebrating the fact that I just watched a show where they ended it and I closed the window and was like, oh my god, I'm so happy with how that turned out, and was surprised. I should not be surprised to be happy with how something ended. But I think it's just been so long since I've seen an ending that I was just blown away. My brain imploded and I died. And now I'm back again to whinge at you. It was such a nice feeling. And I just wish that more writers and directors and creators would take notes from shows like that. And it doesn't have to be Sense8, but just take note of shows that everyone agrees ended well. It's because either they already had an ending in mind from the beginning of the show and worked toward that ending and didn't stray from it like How I Met Your Mother did and then go, oh shit, backpedal immediately, but then dive plummeted to the ground and exploded in a fiery ball. Or it's the shows that didn't have an ending planned, but once they were in the point where they were going to end, worked it out. Shows like Breaking Bad, shows like Sense8, shows like Firefly that ended with a movie. It's important. Endings are important. And with that in mind, I'm going to end this video with a deep, heartfelt rendition of My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. So,